VLR.
Welcome to the Saturday Night Cigar Lounge.
And it is a very cold and about to be rainy Saturday night here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Really the kind of Saturday night that I enjoy, except for that I wish that it were snowing, not raining, because I'm weird like that. This is why I probably should have stayed in the... this is probably why I should have stayed in Seattle when I lived there for 6 months, but that's not what happened, as I got transferred to the desert and then eventually made it back to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which I am not complaining about. I like Texas. I like Texas a lot. But before we even get started here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, we need to take a 16-second moment of silence to remember the 12 people killed in the Charlie Hebdo attack in France, as well as the 4 who were killed in the Paris grocery store. Here, or the grocery store, Jewish grocery store, yesterday. So we're going to take a moment of silence, a 16-second moment of silence to remember all of the victims. And again, this is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. Thank you very much for being here. We have a very, very, very packed show. Obviously, we're going to start off talking a little bit of France, getting you updated on that. But then we're going to get into some comments that were made by Carey discussing Texas and discussing how Texas has Californiaized a little bit, and what he means by that, and really where that stands, especially on a local level, and how that connects to politics. Then we'll get into a little bit on the president's new proposal discussing free... I thought I said Greg Abbott. Maybe I didn't say Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott's comments about Texas being Californiaized. I thought I said Greg Abbott, but I guess I didn't. And what that means for local politics. We'll also discuss what is going on with President Obama's proposal on free, quote-unquote, free community college. Oh, I said Rick Perry. Oops. Or I said Kerry. Oops. Long day. Anyway, so let's talk about the latest that's going on with France and the issues that are going there. First thing that should be noted is that French Prime Minister Manuel Valls has declared that France is at war with radical Islam after the harrowing sieges that led to the death of 3 gunmen and 4 hostages the day before. This is what he said. It is a war against terrorism, against jihadism, against radical Islam, against everything that is aimed at breaking fraternity, freedom, and solidarity. He made this comment south of France earlier today. What this means, the other thing that is going on here, is that police believe the girlfriend of the gunman in the Paris attack, Hayat Boumediene, they believe that she has traveled to Syria and is hiding there. So that's the latest, at least when it comes to some of the stuff that is going on in France. It's interesting that the comments were made regarding France being at war with radical Islam, because that is certainly something that has been discussed, and it's certainly something that has been made. The comments have been made. I mean, you have the burqa ban there. You have other laws there, so people are obviously concerned, and they obviously think that France is at war with jihadism. And there's nothing wrong with being at war with jihadism. I certainly don't think. The question is, how do you go about that war? How do you get involved in that war? And how do you fight it? Do you fight it by doing burqa bans, or do you fight it by doing other situations? Maybe you suggest free trade. Maybe you suggest moderate Muslims come out and discuss things and have conversations with people and become more or less more moderate and get more involved there and discuss that sort of thing, and discuss maybe what, some of their problems might be, what some of their problems aren't. Basically, get more involved in what's going on. Now, one thing I do find amusing that Vicky just said in the chat room is, "Oh dear, Vicky is paying attention to politics." Yes, we should all duck, because Vicky is now paying attention to politics, and I know how much she hates politics. And the other thing that is going on that's going to be very interesting is something that's going on Sunday, which is both Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are going to be at a national rally to pay tribute to the 17 victims of the Islamic attacks this week, including the 4 people who were killed at a Jewish supermarket. Abbas will be joined by many world leaders, including Netanyahu, at a rally which is expected to draw more than 1 million people. Good on Abbas for doing that. Very smart. Very well. It's good that he's doing that. That really is good that he's doing it. The other thing that is not always being discussed, but should be remembered, especially with this situation involving the attack on the Jewish grocer, is that it was an a Muslim who protected most of the people in this grocery store. Ace of Spades posted this, who said that basically what the guy did, Lasana, employed at the hyper cashier where a hostage situation occurred Friday, had the reflex to hide his customers from the armed terrorist. Hiding them had permitted the escape from Ahmedi Chulibali. That's one of the gunmen. He introduced himself as being a Mali Muslim, and when he was confronted by the terrorist in the kosher supermarket where he worked, he acted only on reflex, helping the hostages find a safe place via a trap door in the basement. So good for him. That's something that I don't think is being talked about, or should be discussed a lot more. Was the fact that he did this, and again, it shows that not all. And thank you, Vicky, for posting that in the chat room. It shows that not all Muslims are radical. In fact, I would argue that it's probably either 80 to 20 or 90 to 10 moderate versus radicalized. The problem is when you have small groups of folks which tend to get angry about stuff and tend to bring out their rage, they're the ones who you tend to hear from the most. And I think that's what we see with the radical Islam, is you have a minority of people. Now, 10 to 20%, that's still a large minority. All right? Let's be honest here. 20%, that's still 20%. But you do have 80% of people out there who aren't in favor of, people doing this stuff, of terrorists doing this stuff. And so, to be honest, I think that guys like the clerk in Lasani Bathili, the store clerk at the kosher deli. By the way, it is kind of interesting that a Muslim is working at the kosher deli. Vicky, I think it's an autoplay on an ad on your end. But the fact that you have people out there being willing to, who are willing to stand up for what is right or hide the victims to make sure nobody else gets hurt, that says something. And these are the guys that need to be praised and need to be pointed out. Because if these moderate Muslims are willing to do something and you point them out, if you have the Muslims in Lone Survivor who protected Marcus Luttrell from the Taliban, these are the people who need to be praised, and these are the people who need to be talked about. That's something which needs to be done while you criticize the extremists. Now, one of the things that I did find interesting, and I want to kind of loop back to the burqa ban for a minute, is I am a little curious, and I don't have evidence of this. I don't have evidence of this, but I am a little curious if burqa bans and other things which can be considered anti-Muslim if they might inflame the problem a little bit. I'm not saying they do because I haven't researched it. I'm just going to say this right now. I haven't researched it. I don't know. But I'm curious if that might inflame tensions because people feel like they're being attacked. Again, I have no proof of this. I have no evidence of this. The ban that is being discussed